Hello guys, this is another episode of my monologue, and it's been a little bit more than a week since my previous episode, and I mentioned that I've I've been reading the Zarigoto for a while at that moment. It was something like a week, as far as I remember. Yeah, something like a week, and it's been already a little bit more than something like 15 days since I started reading reading this light novel. Oh, and actually, actually, I did complete whole light novel, all of the 500, all of the 550 pages in this like in half of a month, and yeah, that's very cool. That's one of the biggest reading accomplishments so far, I guess. I wanna actually check whether if it was actually 2 weeks or maybe more. My first reading session of Zarigoto was 12th November, and today's 23rd. Yeah, so it is actually a little bit less than 2 weeks. So yeah, what can I say about whole my experience? Um, so in the first week, something like, I believe in the first 6 or 5 days, I've read something like this much, a little bit less than 200 pages, and in the last week, or even last 4 days, yeah, I've read other 350 pages, and yeah, it actually feels cool, and I actually I actually hadn't have I actually didn't have that consistent amount of time spending on reading, because so there were even like, for example, second day, when I was reading the or 1 second, 45 to 45. So yeah, it was 8 November. Yes. Um, so for example, first, like, no, actually, no, not even first. On fourth day of reading, I didn't even do 2 hours, so it was only 1 hour and 15 minutes, and then the next day it was close to 3 hours, and the next day it wasn't even an hour, only 45 minutes, and the next 2 days I had 2 hours and 3 hours 30 minutes, and then again the next after that it wasn't even an hour, 1 hour 45 minutes, and the next 3 days were actually pretty good. 3 hours 30 minutes, 3 hours, 4 hours 30 minutes, the one of the longest time I spent so far, on reading, like only it. And the next 2 days, which are not the last 3 days are actually not even 2 hours. It was only 1 hour 35 minutes, 1 hour, and yesterday I spent only 1.5 of an hour, and today, until the end, I've read 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, I'm back. I actually forgot that I had a teapot and it was boiling. So actually, I'm not I'm not that I would say I'm not that happy with the result actually, because as you could guess by the time I spent like last days and even like the whole um, in the whole reading all this reading time, uh, I wasn't really consistent. I didn't even do 2 hours for like 5 days. 5 days I didn't do even 2 hours of reading, and so it means that I could even completed reading it even way more before if I would be doing 2+ hours at least consistently. So yeah, and the reason actually I I'm doing not that much of hours because I'm kind of looking well with the time at the beginning. Yeah, there wasn't that much lacking of with the time spent on reading, because my reading speed wasn't quite that fast. It was slower, but after like 40%, mm, I noticed that it kind of increased, and I was like, I mean that's kind of like too easy. That's kind of easy, and like I'll just do the left hours like the next day, like, and I'll like reading an hour, stop the timer, and I'll look how much I read already characters, and then I look up and it shows like 10,000, and I was like, whoa, 10,000. That's kind of a lot, yeah, kind of fast, and then I'll be like, so yes, we can do a little bit of a break, and then I do the break, and break goes to be just uh, something like for 2 hours. But of course, I was willing to do some kind of like maybe 20-15 minutes break, and then I can get back into reading, like get focused again. Yeah, that's kind of what I had, and I actually the main thing I want to do is to actually fix that, and yeah, and actually, I think getting more focused on visual novel is easier, or maybe it's just only me, but yeah, I genuinely think that I was more. It was easier to be focused on when I was reading Steingate, and I was pretty consistent when I look at my results, when I look at my stats, when I was reading Steingate. Only one day I did like less than 2 hours, and yeah, but all the other days were 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, and even one day I did 6 hours, and so yeah. Uh, so what do you want to do next? I actually want to continue reading the Zaryodo series, and there are 8 left, eight all another 8 volumes. So yeah, I actually already started read a little bit of second volume in Japanese, and I did only 5 minutes, and damn, it's actually uh, yeah, that's actually true that yeah, at the beginning your reading speed with with most of the light novels, yeah, you start it'll be very slow, and yeah, even though it is the same author, the same series, yeah, it was harder to read, and so yeah, I didn't read that much. I wasn't able to read that much comparing to how much I could in 5 minutes, like already in the middle of this book, and so yeah. So I actually wanna continue going with even faster pace. Yeah, I mean like reading speed. So it means that in a week, well, it should be done in a week. In a week, if if I'll be really doing it for 3 hours a day, like reading light novel, and so yeah. And I actually wanna count how many hours I spent on to complete reading Zariwoto, because I didn't actually do it, but I'll do the calculations right now. Okay, let's start. Okay, 1 hour, two, 4 point. So I calculated the hours, and it is something around 23 hours. Yeah, roughly 23 hours. And maybe a little bit more or a little bit less, but yeah, these are rough numbers. So it was 200 characters and 23 hours spent. So my average reading speed on that was, so yeah, let's check. 23 was 8,695 characters. So yeah, which is kind of, yeah, very good for me. But of course, it wasn't like this, like for the whole book. In the beginning, it was, I believe it was something like 6,000, 6,005. Yeah, and actually, even, yeah, as I mentioned, like something like in the 40% into it, yeah, it was significantly faster. But then there were a lot of moments where I would be again having very slow speed, and then maybe times when there are a lot of dialogues. Of course, reading speed would be faster, and then the times when there would be like kind of hard. For example, so my comprehension level on Zarigoto, I would say, yeah, it was on the level 3, 4. I was able to follow the story most of the time, but sometimes I could get the gist, like what was said, but yeah, for example, in the one of the last chapters, there was the beginning, like monologue beginning of protagonist, and it was super hard. And yeah, he was doing kind of hard philosophical, kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know how should I describe it properly, because it's kind of hard to describe, but it was a little bit philosophical thoughts. I don't know, kind of too smart words, too smart thoughts were written, and I couldn't understand it. And even actually, there is an anime adaptation of particularly this volume of the first part, and I actually checked the beginning of the episode where particularly this chapter, like with this chapter begins, and so yeah, there was this monologue from the beginning, and actually they in the anime itself, it had hard subs, yeah, hard English subs, so I was like, well, I guess I'll have to I guess use the translation. Yeah, it was kind of using the translator, and even the translation in English, I had to think a little bit to get it. Yeah, it wasn't on the level when I would just get like skim through it and understand what was said. To get the actual idea, like detail in the details, I had to really think a little bit about what was written, what was said, and so yeah, I guess these kind of things happen sometimes while reading it, and sometimes yeah, that's kind of interesting that until like half through the book, I didn't have that much problems. It wasn't that hard, but like in something like 70th, from 70th or 18th or yeah 80th 80th 80 percentage of the book, I started to sometimes not actually get it fully, the sentence, the whole, I don't know, paragraph, and yeah, that's what I noticed again. But I was kind of okay with not getting that kind of left part, because at least there was the bit on the I could I could get the most of the sentence, the most of the paragraph, and I was able to continue like reading to follow the plot, and yeah. But of course, it is due to reading the actually novel itself before in English, and yeah, basically it was reading. But mm, when I was when I was already at the end, I actually forgot forgot a lot from when I read it first time, and it was really like it wasn't in my memory at all. And anyway, I could get all of these things, all of these plot twists I actually forgotten, but I could understand them like while reading them in Japanese, despite that. And so yeah, that's how it was. And what else? There was something else. So yeah, I'm planning to actually watch the anime adaptation of it, because I didn't watch it, but yeah, I want to actually watch it without subtitles, as I did with Mushoku Tensei. But the problem is that on the site where I usually watch the anime, like raw without subtitles, they don't have the anime itself there, but they have info about it, information, and that's kind of strange. There's a reason why I previously mentioned that I watched like a little bit start of the episode, and there were hard English subs, and so yeah, that's what I had to say. Recently, like my recent progress, and what else? I think that's all, and see you next week. And yeah, I should complete the second volume of Zarigoto series. It also has 200,000 characters, and let's see how it will go.